I want to take this time now to kind of shift gears a little bit and talk about your company MVP results, because you do more than Predictive Index. And what's prompted this, I think this next segment is a conversation you and I had offline a few months ago over lunch when we were talking about what the result has been because of COVID and people working remotely. And you had some interesting data points on how productivity has been and how also maybe us Gen Xers and boomers are seeing the world differently. But would you share a little bit with the audience here? What are some of your findings about this?
Yeah, happy to. So our mission, our North Star very much, and we steal this from Predictive Index, is better work, better world. Because, if we can put people into jobs that they enjoy, working on teams that they enjoy, working for bosses they like working for, everything changes. The metrics for any business change on that. But as MVP results, we have a saying, and people say, what do you guys do? And basically we gather data, we deliver insights so people can take action. So the Predictive Index suite of tools are wonderful, and say, we're an elite partner, very proud to be an elite partner. We're one of the biggest Predictive Index partners on the globe. They're not the only suite of tools we use. We do a lot of work around emotional intelligence, which is being seen as critical. And there's certainly studies out there that are saying it's probably number one predictor of job success, particularly amongst management levels on that. So emotional intelligence is huge. And then we run a whole range of 360s and various leadership tools out there. So any time we sit down with any organisation, it's about gathering data. Because as I said to you right at the beginning, they'll have data on their metrics. They'll know when this truck needs servicing. But they won't have any data on the people sitting in the organisation. So we gather that data, which enables us to deliver those insights so that we can then take action. And yeah, we had lunch a little while back and talked about COVID. Now, let's be honest, none of us were prepared for COVID. I don't care.
Right.
Even an old grey guy like me, we've lived through a lot. But there isn't a management school or a book anywhere that taught any of us how to deal with that. So we did a little bit of sort of plans. And there's certainly a generational thing around this as well. We're seeing a lot at the moment of particularly, and I hate to say it, my generation of leaders wanted everyone back into the office. And it's causing problems because not everyone wants to go back into the office. And I'll give you a real world example about this, and I'm going to get into trouble when I get home over this. But my wife is a good example of this. So obviously I have her behavioural assessment. Why wouldn't I want to understand?
Of course, who would?
What makes my wife tick? And she's low in that extroversion drive, that drive for social interaction. So before COVID, she went into the office each day, and she's very much a very analytical, heads down, working that, and. I just know from her style, she gets frustrated when getting interrupted. So working in the office for her was hard work. Someone would always be sticking their head into her office door. Hey, what are we doing about this? Or, hey, come on, we all need to go down to the restroom. It's Sally's birthday. Let's go and sing happy birthday to Sally. And then COVID hit and she got to work from home. She's 10 times more productive working from home. And in fact has changed jobs so she doesn't have to ever go back into the office again. She's 100% remote and thrives on that. Our generation of managers too often want people to come back in, but I'll always challenge them on that, because if you don't trust your people to work, why did you hire them in the first place? But more importantly as well, we're seeing more and more data, and we're still early into this, so I'm sure this will change over time. But the data we're certainly seeing is people on the whole are more productive from home. And I know of a very large financial organisation, and I'm friends with one of their VPs, so I won't mention them because I don't want to get them into trouble. But they're actually seeing round about when people were coming into the office, they were logged on for about 38, 39 hours a week. Their entire workforce is now fully remote. And they're logging on for about 48 to 49 hours a week now.
Really?
And I've seen this with my own wife. Because whereas before, hair, makeup, business suit on, an hour commute into the office, and then an hour commute home.
You're chewing up all the time.
Yeah. So she wasted 2 hours of every day, then 10 hours a week, sat in the car. She doesn't now. I mean, she was on a Zoom meeting at 8 a.m. this morning. where before she would have been sitting in the car in traffic. And we all know what traffic's like in the Tampa area. So yeah, I think we as leaders have to adapt and understand that, the world is changing, and what different generations want from their world is changing as well. I think that was part of the conversation we had around that, wasn't it?
Yeah, because during the conversation, you said something that really struck me, and that was, it doesn't really matter what you or I think. The next generation of leaders believe in working from home. They believe in working remote. When you look at the millennial, you look at the Gen Z generation, to them, it's going to be normal. Almost like you said, like we were the problem. Is that?
Yeah, and I think it is. Also what people want. We're from certainly I only speak for myself here. I'm a generation where it was all about achieving the corner office and becoming the CEO and all the symbols of power, whatever you want to call it. Different generations don't see it that way. I mean, having meaning to their work and understanding the why behind their work is critical to them, and work-life balance is becoming more critical to them, and fair play to them. Our generation, I think, was all about doing 80-hour work weeks. People don't want to do that anymore, and I support them.
Right?
Why shouldn't they? So, yeah, I think work is going to change dramatically over the coming years. Technology has made that easier as well. Don't forget,
with Zoom, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I started out in sales 1,000 years ago, and I've always been a salesman at heart, and I was a road warrior, and that's what I did. I was on the road from Sunday night till Friday night every week.
Mm-hmm.
We've grown MVP results into a huge organisation that I'm very proud of. From me sitting behind a camera, and most of my team, we very rarely go out and interact
face to
face on that. And for me that was a big learning curve.
Sure, that weren't familiar with doing that. You were always face to face and always doing the road warrior thing. So let's tie this together from the earlier conversation about culture. How do I continue to build a team and keep a great culture when I have my staff all working remote? What do I need to do that's different?
It is a tough one. And once again, I advise a lot of our clients around this. Be aware of those different behavioural styles. So once again, I'm bringing it back to PI. That understanding that my people who are low in that extroversion, who are quite happy working from home, are fine. They're quite happy to communicate via an email or a text or whatever. But you will have team members who do need those huddles. And probably miss the collaboration on that. So, use the technology that's out there. I made a big point during COVID of making sure that my team members who are high in that need for social interaction, that I connected with them. And I made sure I connected with them on camera. And we talked and just, hey, how's it going? What's it like homeschooling the kids?
The things that we would talk about when someone would walk past my office.
Yeah.
Because that is probably the big fear of people that have a staff working remote, is that I don't get the drop by in my office and we talk about, I don't know, how the Lightning played last night or what's going on with the Bucks this Sunday, and, how the kids, how's the dog, how's the spouse, all those things were in the drop by conversations. That's how we kind of built rapport. And how do we do that? So I guess the answer is a dedicated time on Zoom where we're talking about those same things. We're just not saying, I need to have a Zoom call at 9:30 tomorrow morning to discuss this sales, meeting.
Yeah, we can't take the humanity out of this. We really can't.
Maybe because we didn't know what we were doing after COVID. During COVID, we have this video, we have this Zoom thing. We don't even know how to use it. Like we're a bunch of cavemen, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
So we're using it exactly as mechanically as you could imagine. Just, okay, we're going to have a meeting. We're going to talk about these things from top to bottom, but we forgot about the relationship.
Yeah. And we have team meetings and we insist everyone's on camera and, unless there's something going on. And what I've really enjoyed about this is we've still managed to get to know people. I mean, we've taken on associates within MVP Results who I've never physically met. But we encourage people to be human. So I love the fact that people's cats are wandering across screen,
right,
and the dog's barking because the GPS guy turned up. I had a lovely conversation with one of our clients recently And her daughter attends all of our meetings. Her 3-year-old daughter sits on her lap and attends all of our meetings. And it's wonderful. And I would say, hi. And yeah, we can't take the humanity out of this.
Yeah.
I think, we need to make sure that we use technology to aid us, not let technology rule us.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.